And hello, one and all, and welcome to my review on this week's edition of NXT. We're going to take a look at everything that took place on the December 14th, 2016 edition of NXT. And I have to say, I thought this week's edition was a solid show. We got some storyline progression, a cage title match, and something to look forward to next week. It's set up nicely for the Fatal 4-Way main event. So I liked what we had on this week's edition of NXT as we continue the slow build toward NXT TakeOver San Antonio, which will be airing January 28th on the WWE Network. So I look forward to seeing what NXT has to offer for that show. But they got a ton of great talent down there at the Performance Center. And let's just get right into it, guys. Let's talk about NXT. It was the final match between Shinsuke Nakamura defending his NXT Championship versus Samoa Joe. They ended it in a steel cage match. I thought it was a solid steel cage match. Wasn't the best steel cage match that I've seen. But for the amount of time that these guys had, for it being on TV, obviously, I definitely thought it was better than the match they had in Japan the previous week. They had a little bit more time to work with. I like the fact that in this match, Nakamura did not choose to escape the steel cage. No. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to punish Samoa Joe. And you're damn right that he did. Because as Joe was setting up to muscle buster Shinsuke Nakamura off the steel cage, similar to how he did that to Finn Balor, if you all remember that, Nakamura was able to powerbomb Samoa Joe off the top ropes. That was a really nice looking spot there. And then Nakamura dove off and leveled Joe with a Kinshasa. And that's where they have the cage door open. And I'm thinking, well, Nakamura's not going out. What's going on here? Why isn't he going? He could just easily leave the cage. But he wasn't done with Joe. And I like that, Instead of seeing somebody escape the cage, no, they wanted to remain in there. He wanted to remain in there and finish Joe off. And Nakamura looks at Joe. Nakamura shuts the cage door, hits Joe with another Kinshasa, and Joe continues to move. So Joe ain't going down without a fight. Joe is one tough son of a bitch. So Nakamura hits him with a third Kinshasa, and that is it, folks. That ends the feud between Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm thinking this is Joe's final match on NXT, and if it is, it's a good solid match to go out on, fighting for the NXT Championship. But Joe, if you look at it, he really has done everything that he could for the NXT brand, and it is time, and I believe we will see him make his debut in the 2017 Royal Rumble match. So already looking forward to seeing what plans they have and what brand Samoa Joe would be drafted to. So I look forward to seeing that. But yeah, this was a good way to open up the show. Like I said, it blows off the feud between Nakamura and Joe. And then we move right into our 4 number 1 contenders matches to qualify for the Fatal 4-Way next week on NXT to determine the number 1 contender for the NXT Championship. We have the Perfect 10, Tye Dillinger versus Eric Young with Sanity. Now, Sanity is really intriguing. They're becoming one of my favorite acts to watch here in NXT. They just have a dark, brooding, unnerving presence. You don't really know what they're going to do next. You don't really know what they want out of all of this. But the match between Tye and Eric Young, it didn't really get going too much until Damo would hit the ring. He would obliterate him and Dillinger, and then eventually Nikki Cross would attempt to attack. Dillinger would sidestep her, but the point is, just led to a complete breakdown in the ring. Match led to a disqualification, so Tye Dillinger is your winner. He advances as a result of disqualification, but Damo, once again, as they were hinting here on NXT, trying to prove or show his loyalty, and he's not officially a member of Sanity, but seeing as, how they are down a man, I definitely see him becoming a member of Sanity in no time. But it's nice to see at least Tye Dillinger does advance next week into the Fatal 4-Way number 1 contenders match. We had our second qualifying match of the evening. It was Andrade Cien Almas versus No Way Jose. Solid match here. No Way trying to use his, height advantage and his overall power advantage versus the the speed and skill of Andrade Cien Almas. But as Joe was setting up for the TKO, Almas was able to reverse into a Cobra DDT for the win. So I'm really interested to see where they go with Almas as a heel. I think that is the right move to make because he just really wasn't working as a babyface on NXT. So he's definitely getting some boos, but I want to see, what is his next feud? Where is his, his character going to go? And all that good stuff. But okay match here between Cien Almas and No Way Jose. Nothing to rag about here. For this, we had Roderick Strong versus Elias Samson for another number one contenders qualifying match. And Strong here looked really good. He was able to get multiple elbows, kicks in. He hit a C4. He hit a nice-looking sick kick on Elias Samson for the win. It's nice to see Roderick Strong again on NXT. It's been a while since we've last seen him. Of course, him and Austin Aries. We're, pretty good team. They're reuniting from their ROH days, and it was sad that had to get cut short in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. But I like the fact that Roderick Strong won here. I haven't really seen too much of him, of his work in the independents. But I don't really watch too much ROH. But it'll be nice to see him next week compete in the Fatal 4-Way number one contenders match. So he qualified successfully. And then after this, we had, our final match of the evening. It was another number one contenders match, Fatal 4-Way qualifying match. Oney Lorcan versus the glorious Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode comes out, and just the commanding presence that this guy has, the best theme music in the business. Just this guy is the total package. He is, he has the it factor. He is just, I've always been a Bobby Roode fan. And this match between him and Lorcan, it was a solid match. Oney was able to take it to Bobby Roode, but of course you knew eventually, despite all the offense that Lorcan might have been able to get in, it was just not going to be enough for the glorious one. Roode was able to hit a nice-looking spine buster, and Roode picked up Lorcan and hit the Roode Bomb for the win. So there you have it, folks. You have our 4 participants in the Fatal 4-Way match. This should be a really good match. Bobby Roode, Roderick Strong, Ty Dillinger, and, of course, the last individual, Andrade Cien Almas. So that is set next week for our main event on NXT, and then we will officially have our number one contender, who I assume will challenge Shinsuke Nakamura at NXT TakeOver San Antonio. But I'm going to go out there, be bold, and make my prediction for that Fatal 4-Way match. I want to see Bobby Roode be the one to win and challenge Shinsuke Nakamura at NXT TakeOver San Antonio. I think that would be a very glorious main event, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that was my, good episode of NXT this week, guys. I mean, if I had to give this week's episode a grade, I would give it a B. It was a solid B show this week. So that's it for my full thoughts and opinions on NXT, guys. Be sure to leave your comments down below on what you thought of this week's edition of NXT. And be sure to come back up here later on today. I will be having my Roadblock preview and predictions video, breaking down WWE Roadblock pay-per-view live this Sunday from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I look forward to going to that. So guys, thanks for watching this video, and I will see you later on today. Take care.